What is up, guys? Kevin Cage back with another XRP update. Props to all that can stick around for this one. Let's dive in. This has been such a crazy week in the world of cryptocurrency. For the first time in history, our global market capitalization has surpassed $1.5 trillion with a T. And this is not too good to be true. We are all witnessing this shift happen right now. But keep in mind, yeah, markets are going to fluctuate. They'll go up, down. It's always just an endless dance of trying to reach equilibrium, so to speak. But guess what? It's still going to bring in trillions of dollars more in the future, regardless of any corrections that do happen along the way. Long term, we're going to see higher highs. And of course, we can talk about the exciting things happening in DeFi. The bubble that really, I guess you could say, started in maybe July, August, when we had that huge DeFi bubble. A lot of assets are popping off, and now we're having even more do the same thing now that Bitcoin hit $50,000 for the first time in history. It's exciting. I am beyond excited. And you guys could say that, yeah, bubbles in terms of market bubbles have a negative connotation. But overall, you can also see that bubbles are opportunity, because guess what? Yeah, there's bubbles in every asset class, specifically this asset class that will swallow all others, the first asset class since the 1600s. But these bubbles bring attention. So the DeFi bubble, it brought more attention to the space. It brought more innovation. It brought more builders. And yes, I know we are speculators. There's going to be a utility bubble, and there may be many of them over the coming decades. So I'm beyond excited. And yeah, if you open your eyes, you're going to see the opportunities at play. So right here, this is beyond exciting. We can see RippleNet runs on RippleNet on NBK's website. This is the National Bank of Kuwait. I want to speed through a few points here. I want to talk about some of the connections we do know with even Dubai, where Ripple moved their regional headquarters 1 month before the SEC really came after them, or at least they announced doing so. And remember, Dubai, based in the UAE, is a big region in the world of remittance that needs help. So these versatile, these agile fintechs with money and are able to move a lot quicker than these dinosaur banks like Ripple are going to help a lot of these clients globally. Right here, the GCC, this is the Gulf Cooperation Council. You can see the countries named, about 6 countries, and overall approximately 54 million people are in this region. Now, before we talk about NBK, I just want to point out, right on Nasdaq's website, published on November 8th, 2020, Ripple expressing their plans to open up the new regional headquarters in Dubai out of the UAE, one of the GCC nations. Very exciting. Well, why am I so excited about this? Because Ripple is going to be at the heart of this financial hub, the DIFC. This is the Dubai International Financial Center, with over 2,400 companies and its own, in quotes, independent judicial system and regulatory framework, according to the website. Per Navin Gupta of Ripple, going on to say, in quotes, Ripple already has a significant client base in the MENA region, the Middle East, Northern Africa region, and the opportunity to co-locate with our customers made DIFC a natural choice. This is the gentleman, per many interviews, even going over the UAE specifically, saying that yes, remittance fees are unacceptable, on average 7 to 10%. Ridiculous. So, now leading into my next point, we have the gentleman out of Dubai, the director account manager, and per the Instagram post, we can see now you can transfer funds to Jordan instantly with NBK Direct Remit. You can go visit the website right here, nbk.com/direct remit. So let's keep moving now. So per NASDAQ, covered that. Right here, covered this gentleman. I wanted to take a quick look at his LinkedIn and just kind of see his background before we talk about some additional news. So we can see right on LinkedIn at HSBC, one of the huge players with, of course, Citi and JP Morgan that processes 80% of all cross-border transactions. So he was there for 9 years. We do know that Chris Larsen, executive chairman of Ripple, is also a board member high up there. We also have DBS Bank based out of Singapore. Well, we've seen them around, and keep in mind, this is, a while back. He was there for less than a year. I'm just pointing out a cool bank that I like specifically. We can see right here, Singapore's DBS Bank. They are also a RippleNet partner, becomes the first in Asia to offer a crypto exchange. These countries aren't waiting, all right? So I'm not doing crazy dot connections. I'm just showing you that all these countries are, in fact, embracing digitization, the tokenization of assets. In the future, that is essentially validating this market altogether. So we've seen Singapore, and then HSBC's all over the place, but we do remember this. In 2019, they moved $20 billion from paper to blockchain in one of the biggest financial deployments. So nonetheless, I know that not all of it is settlement, some of it's reconciliation. There's surely a bunch of issues going on in this market. I just wanted to point it out. Very, very interesting. In other news, talking about that bubble in the beginning of this video, we have Uniswap hits $100 billion in trading volume. This DEX, DEX, a decentralized exchange, has come a long way since it launched in May 2020. And I remember hearing about it and just seeing the unicorn and not really understanding what it was altogether, and then finally reading about it and, you know, playing with it and then seeing those fees. And I know there are some tragedies on Twitter in the crypto, or in crypto Twitter, we call it CT, seeing some people that spent a bunch in gas fees. So scary stuff. There's some assets, there were some sleepers that I wanted to buy in the DeFi space. I wanted to buy a lot of them, like, you know, a good amount, a pretty big bag, and I just couldn't pull the trigger just because of the fees. They were outrageous. It was a lot worse than 7 to 10% going into the UAE or, you know, these remittance corridors. It was ridiculous. So we need to work on that as well and get a lot more liquidity in these decentralized exchanges. Nonetheless, I support this ecosystem. I support innovation. It's exciting. I know there's a lot of other DEXs. I've only used maybe like 3 other ones, but they're popping up everywhere. So if you guys don't believe in, you know, XRP, or if you don't believe in Bitcoin, believe in this innovation. Believe in distributed systems, because this is happening. All right. Also, let's get refresh this. We're at 1.4. We've been kind of pulling back, but Bitcoin did in fact, guys, hit, and we did surpass that 1.5 trillion. I almost said billion overall. So a $50,000 per Bitcoin. Now, the crazy thing is Tether is still printing USDT. They submitted their documents. What's next? And we're keeping track of that. And it is scary stuff for me, at least. You know, some of you, I think we're just going to, you know, think we're going to be fine forever. But, you know, I hope so. I hope we keep pumping. It's just, I'm ready to obviously prepare for the worst and capitalize on what's to come, just like Zig Ziglar always says. We can see the market capitalization of Tether is $32.2 billion. That's crazy. It's eclipsing a lot of these other market capitalizations. And I'm curious, guys, which assets are going to surpass it when we in fact do pump next? Will DOT pass it? Will ADA? And ADA's market cap actually doubled in recent weeks, which is crazy. Or will XRP finally get that bounce that we've been waiting for? We're sitting at 52 cents. I saw us pull back all the way to 50 cents earlier. Super disheartening, but honestly, you know, I know we're going to pull out of this. So to each their own, guys. Just understand all of these swings are temporary. Also, the total market cap of all crypto has surpassed that of Google's parent company, Alphabet. This is validation. Not that we can print money infinitely and utilize Tether just like some other groups, but that this market is here to stay. Now, there's going to be higher highs, there's going to be, hopefully, higher lows forming, and nonetheless, I'm just excited to see all of this happen. I don't really mind all the Doge nonsense and, you know, Elon shilling certain things, but nonetheless, guys, I guess it's just part of the story. I would love to hear your guys' opinions. All right, also, this is an absolute must-see, guys. I did retweet it. This is Jeremy Hogan, an attorney that gives his opinion, and I'm sure you guys already know him if you're in the XRP community, and it's very, very helpful to break down all of the jargon, the, you know, confusing talk and verbiage overall in this market. So he breaks this down. Already has 90,000 views. I was watching that earlier, just kind of talking about the overall court filings. What can we expect? Will Ripple reach settlement? What month would we be waiting? Could it happen this month? Could it happen, you know, all the way not until September? What's going on? So I love that he's providing value. We have Jesse, we have John Deaton, we have all these gentlemen. I appreciate their opinions, and I really just like trying to entertain different ideas so we really understand what we're dealing with. And even these gentlemen, in my mind, and this is biased, please understand this, none of this is financial advice. I think that we have this case in the bag. It's just going to be a matter of time, and I do not want them to drag it out any longer. I'm so sick of waiting, but I still have zero doubt in this ecosystem. All right. Also, Stuart Alderati, a big shot general counsel to Ripple. He's the one that's been quoted. Of course, we know that the SEC already was running a validator or looking to run a validator per that whole video that we watched back in, what was it, 2019? Trying to remember what year it was, so don't quote me on the year, but of course you guys have seen the famous video clip. And in 2015, the United States government concluded that XRP was a virtual currency. So they didn't call it a security, even if there were some sales and they didn't like how it was done. I'm just saying XRP today is not a security. It is not a security token. It is, in fact, either a payments token, some type of utility token, or maybe a combination of everything. But it is no way a security token altogether. That's a joke to me. So last I checked, the SEC is still part of the US government. Goodbye Howey test and hello Ripple test. Of course, there's going to be new tests. The Howey test is decades old. They're going to come up with new frameworks, as we know. But how long will that take? And will the market wait for that? And my answer would be no. We've been waiting long enough. And I think that XRP will take off sooner than later. And last but not least, guys, I just wanted to emphasize this in terms of trading. Please be safe. Don't act out of emotion. Sometimes, in my experience at least, is if you're sick of holding something and you bought it right after a pump or something like that, and you want it to pump, right when you sell it, that's typically when the market takes off. And in my experience, and I'm learning right there with you by making stupid mistakes years ago, sometimes the less trades you make, the less, the lower the frequency, the more profitable you actually become. So my idea is I usually get into position, I go through all the charts, I set my targets, I sit on my hands, and I outweight everybody else. It's not about IQ, it's about psychology. What are the masses thinking emotionally about assets, and how can I do the exact opposite and capitalize off that by thinking like a contrarian? So I take profit, I rebalance, I repeat, and if you find it boring, yeah, it definitely is sometimes when you're holding and waiting, but guess what? It's not after you really start compounding your returns overall, and it gets very, very powerful. So here's an example. And I have my XRP, I have my fat bags of a lot of alts. I can let them ride, and I truly think that I would have generational wealth from those assets, or at least be able to, retire the parents and take care of everybody and live life on my own terms. I think I have enough where I can set and forget and be fine for life. But I'm also trading with the trading portion of my bag, so I never touch my long-term holdings, and this is what I do. So for example, if you just got either 20% returns in a row, or let's do even bigger because we are in a bull market typically. Let's get 2 consecutive 40% trades in a row, and let's just start with a $10,000 balance. So anybody that's hopefully a grown adult that is in the market has been able to save up $10,000 over the years and work really hard and get there before start investing. You have to learn how to make money. And manage $100, $1,000. So say you have 10K and you're ready to invest into the cryptocurrency market. $10,000 times 1.4, because that's 40%. You get $14,000. So altogether, that's a $4,000 profit, correct? Well, now, instead of getting a 40% return from the 10K, you're going to do it with 14K, making your money work for you. It's 14K times 1.4, which is 40%, is altogether $19,600. So you're almost at 20K and you started at 10K with 2 trades. You essentially doubled your money. There's all kinds of ways to do this. And I was talking to a buddy, Zach, last week or so. And, there's goals, and, you can try to, break down the steps until you can finally believe it and make it more tangible. So if this is too good to be true, 40% returns getting consistently, or even finding 2 a month, I don't know what to tell you, because that's literally what I'm doing. But you could maybe say, okay, let's do 20% trades and play that. And all in all, we're all just going to have to find our own style. Remember, there is no right path, there is only your path. And in theory, I try to get my original investment back as soon as possible, depending on the investment, depending if it is merely a trade or a long-term hold. So for example, if I bought an asset and it went up to one of my targets of the first point of resistance of a fib extension per se, I'd be like, awesome. Let's take 50% off the table. That's actually my original investment because it's absolutely skyrocketed. Now at this next point, if it hits it, I'll set my limit order. I'll take another 25% off the table. That is clean profit. And then I'll leave the rest of the 25% because I believe in this asset and it's worth a gamble now that I already have additional money. It's house money to let it ride for my long-term holdings and just see how far it goes, because we surely do not know where the top is by any means yet. It is 2021. We are just getting started, and this market is 1.5 trillion. And once again, Ripple projected 12 trillion in the coming years, like very soon, which means that we're going to be having pretty big parabolic rises, guys. And if you want to be even more bullish, of course, we do believe in the derivatives market. We believe overall, the global market cap of crypto stocks is 100 trillion. I think this market, the cryptocurrency market, I'll see it in a pretty quick time. Next 5-10 years, we could probably get to, let's say, 20 trillion all the way to 100 trillion. That's the biggest range ever, but I believe it's very, very possible. So exciting for sure. All in all, guys, we have a bunch of news. We have Reuters, discussing G7, seeing backing issuances of new IMF SDRs. I'm not mentioning XRP. I'm just talking about what the globe is up to in terms of lending and being, the lenders of last resort, so to speak. We talk about Morgan Stanley. Also, they're working with exchanges in Europe on implementing new crypto technology into traditional market infrastructure. And then lastly, another Federal Reserve Bank. We've seen Cleveland. We've seen many of them discussing XRP years ago in the documents, and I probably have them even in these folders up here, literally discussing. The Bank of St. Louis, published a report on DeFi, decentralized finance on blockchain and smart contract-based financial markets. So the report notes that DeFi has the benefits of accessibility, composability, efficiency, transparency, Oh my gosh, and did I go an entire video without even discussing Flare networks? There's just so many value adds ahead, guys. Don't lose faith. Remember, when in doubt, zoom out, and I will catch you in the next video.